captain of the nearby boat, Carsten Borner, was cited in Italian media, interviewed by Italian media, saying that despite having taken the 15 people on board onto his vessel, 4 of which were quite badly injured, he kept hearing shouts in the water, but they kept going round and round, seeking out people in the dark with the sort of emergency lights they had, but they didn't manage to locate anyone else. So it may be that there are still people out there. It may be that the current has taken them elsewhere. That's what everyone on site and the emergency rescue teams are hoping for.
The person has been confirmed dead and 6 people are missing, including Lynch and his daughter Hannah, who completed her A-levels this summer. He was celebrating getting off from a charge of fraud. She was celebrating her A-levels on this yacht. Earlier, Danny Forts on the Sunday Times' West Coast correspondent told us about Mike Lynch.
He built this company called Autonomy that he sold for a very large sum of money to Hewlett-Packard back in 2011, and it made him very, very wealthy. And then it all went pear-shaped. Hewlett-Packard said this was actually a big fraud. They have sued him and some of his former colleagues, and then the Department of Justice got involved, et cetera, et cetera. So long story short, he spent a decade fighting some very serious allegations, especially from the DOJ. He was extradited just over about a year and a half ago to America after a very long fight. And he faced pretty long odds. There were 17 fraud charges, and if he lost, he faced spending the rest of his life in prison. He was 59. He didn't have great health. And, when I spoke to him, he said he was very much prepared for the worst. He said, the chances just by the numbers was that 99.5% chance he would end up in prison. That's just what the numbers look like when you look at U.S. federal criminal cases. But he won, incredibly, after a 12-week trial in San Francisco. That was in June. And I managed to sit down with him and get the first interview after this marathon, decade-plus journey that started from this amazing crowning achievement that turned into something of a nightmare.
Yeah, you can hear the full interview we did with Danny, because he obviously spoke to him, interviewed Mike Lynch recently. We'll put it on YouTube because there's so many details in this story. Mike Lynch's co-defendant, Stephen Chamberlain, died on Saturday after he was struck by a car while running near his home in Cambridgeshire. So you have these 2 men both involved in this major trial, and they both die. One dies on Saturday, one is missing after a yacht accident 3 days later. A woman saved her 1-year-old by holding her above the waves and was eventually rescued. There's a hell of a lot in this story. Let's speak to the journalist Alina Trabattoni, who was on a boat in nearby Sicily yesterday. Good morning to you, Alina.
Hi, good morning. Good morning.
What do you know about the level of the search now? Because obviously this happened Monday morning, the accident, and 6 people are still missing.
Yes, absolutely. So they're still missing. The search effort went through until late last night and resumed this morning. It's actually moving slightly down the coast as well. Initially, they had great difficulty because the vessel was very, very deep. We're talking about 57 meters below sea level. So the actual underwater experts and rescue and search teams on site in Sicily managed to get to the vessel, but they didn't manage to access inside to see if there were people trapped inside, and had to call for reinforcements from Sardinia, the nearby islands of Sardinia, and from Rome, where they have all the technology and the equipment to cater to service these sort of emergency situations. And so the search has resumed at the moment. It's sit and wait and hope and pray, I think, for everyone involved.
But presumably at this point, after 24 hours, the hope reduces hour by hour, I would imagine.
Yes, it does. It does. Nevertheless, the efforts are ongoing. But yes, every minute, every hour that passes makes it more difficult to find people, alive and safe and take them to safety in these situations.
Do we know how so many people did survive? How they were rescued?
Well, interestingly enough, a lot of the people that managed to get off the boat and get to shore via assistance from a nearby sailboat actually went to deck before the water tornado ravished the boat and before lightning struck its sailmast and reportedly snapped it. It's a large aluminium 72-meter sailmast. That's the tallest in the world. Before it was snapped. And they went up to deck. A lot of them made their way up to deck because they were absolutely shocked at how the turn the weather had taken. Now, it needs to be remembered this was an absolutely normal summer evening for the people on board. Granted, it was a super yacht, but they were there enjoying their summer holiday, celebrating on various fronts. Lynch's acquittal, which happened in June, and also it was a normal summer holiday for many of the others on board. And what happened was they actually ended up thrown out into sea, and the nearby vessel, Dutch-bearing flagged vessel, saw them and brought a dinghy out to them. They had actually managed to inflate their own emergency rubber dinghy, and 15 people were taken on board the nearby Sir Robert BP ship.
And just finally, has there been any news about when the last time Mike Lynch and his daughter were seen? Because when these things happened, did anyone see him in the water? Did anyone see anything like that? Or any reports coming out of that?
No. The captain of the nearby boat, Carsten Borner, was cited in Italian media, interviewed by Italian media, saying that despite having taken the 15 people on board onto his vessel, 4 of which were quite badly injured, he kept hearing shouts in the water, but they kept going round and round, seeking out people in the dark with the sort of emergency lights they had, but they didn't manage to locate anyone else. So it may be that there are still people out there. It may be that the current has taken them elsewhere. That's what everyone on site and the emergency rescue teams are hoping for.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see what happens. Alina, good to speak to you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
That's Alina Trabattoni there. So other people in the water that were not rescued, and it's getting on for however long, 24 hours after this period, more than 24 hours. Yeah. So, I mean, we hope, it'd be lovely if in the middle of the morning on Times Radio we can say people have been found and the current took them somewhere and they're home safe.
Yeah, and the rescue element of the story is amazing. The mum that managed to hold her daughter above her head for long enough to get her to safety in the middle of a kind of water spout tornado, the kind of strength that takes, the fact that there was a vessel that was close enough, the fact that the life dinghy inflated on their own vessel, the fact that so many people got out, the diving team only finding one body in the vessel when it went down yesterday, that was the ship's cook. But you get the feeling, I mean, it feels like this has gone from a recovery operation, a rescue operation to a recovery one, don't you? You
do get that, but let's hope. I mean, they haven't called it off yet, so we will carry on reporting that. We've got people on the ground in Sicily. We'll let you know as soon as there is any news.